We've got an exciting one today. We're taking a look at a Ford Transit, but not this Ford Transit. This Ford Transit. This is a Ford E-Transit, and I'm so pumped to take a look at it. Ford is marketing these towards two main groups, last mile delivery drivers and tradespeople. As a last mile delivery driver myself, I'm going to take a quick peek at this sweet Ford Transit and tell you what I think. All I've seen up to this point are these white ones. There's one there, there's one there, there's one there. So when I got here and he was like, yeah, you're gonna be looking at this. This is the sickest E-Transit I've ever seen. Shiny wheels. It's like that cool trendy gray. I am very excited. So here it is in all its plastic covered glory. Steve, who helped me coordinate all of this, said that all the Transits that dealerships are getting right now are already sold or pre-ordered. I'm sure they want to keep it nice for whoever's actually going to end up with this van. This is pretty similar to the normal Ford Transits that I drive for work. The display is new. The gear shifter is like a spinny knob thing. Push start, which is nice, and you can't even tell that it's on, but it's on. It's super quiet. Pretty standard, pretty basic. It's really all you need. Obviously no upfit, so no shelves, no bulkhead door, anything like that. Something interesting about the E-Transits, they're only being sold in this configuration, so like a cargo van or a cutaway chassis. So if you want to hang out with 10 of your friends in your electric E-Transit, sorry, but they don't come with seats. Let's do this. Twist this little button, turn it into drive. We're in drive. Let's see how this thing, well, drives. There's a bunch of Amazon vans here. That's funny. This thing is exactly like a normal Transit, except for it's making a humming noise instead of an engine noise. Here's a real test. Ready? Acceleration. It's a cargo van, but how does it accelerate? To be totally honest with you, the Rivians just feel so quick. And this is just like any other cargo van. I don't know what I was expecting. If you're targeting the people who would usually buy a Transit, you want to make the experience as close as you can to a normal Transit, but I don't know. It's kind of underwhelming. All right, we're gonna switch it into L mode, which I think increases the regen. Well, actually, there's no regen right now in drive. All right, we're in drive, we're in L. Let's see if we notice a difference. Okay, that's definitely quick. Okay. So maybe the L mode, and there is a little bit of regen. Okay, so maybe the L mode is closer to what I associate with like a typical EV experience with the quickness and the regen braking. But then in drive, it's just like any other Transit. Well, that was interesting. Just a brief little quick test drive, and pay close attention to that right there. I'll try to zoom in on it, but so that's made with a normal, oh, I don't think the camera can see it actually. Amazon CDV is what we call it. It's basically a Ford Transit cutaway chassis with a step van type box put on it. That's where I think these are gonna be the most useful. I'll talk about that in just a minute. Gotta get the camera. There's the CDV right there, that thing. There's another one right there. Okay, while I'm here, I also have to check out some of the other EVs on the lot. I'm not driving them though, I wish. Mach-E, 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 and Lightning. And thank you to Steve at Bowen Scarf here in Kent. Steve helped me last minute figure this out, and I left early from work to come film this, and it turned out great. So thanks, Steve. Thanks for interrupting me, Amazon van. Okay, test drive done. Let's talk about some of the things that I forgot to mention while I was driving the van. First things first, branding. Really the only way to tell that this is the electric Transit instead of just the standard Transit is the blue on the grille. And there's a badge on the back that says E-Transit. It also has that Ford blue. I don't know if they have a name for it, but I've seen it on the Ford Lightning badges too. Electric blue or something like that. So if you're just looking at the van from the outside and you didn't see those two things, you'd have no idea. Something else that I find interesting about all these cargo vans, the Ford, the Ram, even the Mercedes, is they all have different configurations. So for example, all of the Ford Transits that Amazon uses are gonna be the high roof, extended length. The last time I rented a van from U-Haul to move this couch, actually, it was the regular wheelbase, regular roof height. And based on the Ford website, the E-Transit comes in any configuration that you want, same as the normal Transit. For reference, the base model high roof extended cargo vans sell for about $58,000. All the electric Transits are rear wheel drive. I didn't see an option for all wheel drive on the Ford website. I pointed out the wheels. They are 16-inch black aluminum alloy wheels, and they're a $485 option. Push start was another option that this particular van had. If you saw my recent video on the Ram ProMaster CDVs, those come with a push start. The vast majority of Amazon vans still require a physical key, which is annoying because it's another step you have to turn on, turn off, and keys tend to break when you turn them on and off like 100 times during a day. A push start is just way easier. Every van should have them. And then this is probably the thing that people are most curious about is the range. And I was actually pretty surprised by the range. So for reference, our Rivian vans that just got rolled out recently have about 144 miles of range. I think there was just an update that boosted it to like 180 miles of range. Most people, if they have a car, their car can probably go 300 to 400 miles on a tank. So people think 140 miles is like super low, impractical. The truth is that especially for delivery vehicles, this is usually more than enough. On my routes here in Seattle, I probably drive 10 miles to my route from the station, maybe another 10 miles on my route. If I have to go help out another driver, that's maybe another couple miles and then another 10 back to the station. Really, unless you're delivering to a more rural area, you're probably not going to be hitting even that like 100-mile mark. Straight from the Ford website, the E-Transit supposedly has 126 miles of range. I don't know if that's loaded, unloaded, which configuration that's for, but when you think about a delivery vehicle that's starting at the station, going on its route, even if it's gone for like 10 hours, it comes back to the station and it has plenty of time to charge overnight. When I was driving this E-Transit, the battery gauge was at about half a charge and it was reading about 52 miles of range. I think if you were just using this as a work truck, especially in the city, but even in the suburbs, I think the range would be okay. And this is the first one, so battery range is only going to improve. Some people, businesses that are using the E-Transits already. There's one I see here in Seattle that delivers like medical supplies. Lee Smith, a subscriber on this channel, has an E-Transit for his plumbing company. And you may have even seen DHL using electric Ford Transits and Walmart for their new last mile delivery service. I think Amazon actually did a pilot with an early E-Transit. I found this picture on Reddit. It's a dually Ford Transit. As far as I know, there aren't any regular Amazon vans that are dualies. Plus it has the all-electric branding on the side. So people are using them and they seem to be working okay. Okay, now for the exciting part, let's get into some comparisons. So the reason that I wanted to drive the E-Transit in the first place is mostly because I've been driving the Rivian EDVs. That was my first experience driving an electric vehicle. So the one pedal driving isn't really a thing in the E-Transits. The Transit, like I mentioned, has no regen in normal drive. And then when you switch it to low, it has like a little bit of regen, but it's not nearly as crazy as the Rivians. That is just one big difference I noticed as far as the driver experience. I also, just for fun, test drove an e-Golf. I kind of had the same experience driving that. Coming from the Rivian, you expect some super novel, interesting, weird experience, but I'm beginning to realize that not all electric vehicles are like that. And honestly, the E-Transit and the Golf, if you would have told me that it was a gas engine, I would have totally believed you. Maybe when you step on the pedal, you can feel a little bit more acceleration. And then obviously the noise too, like you don't hear the noise of the engine. So that was interesting. To triple my EV driving experience, and the most exciting was still the 10,000-pound cargo van. And finally, I know everyone's gonna say, I wanna turn the E-Transit into a camper. It just comes down to range. It doesn't have the range yet. Maybe one day it will. I mean, you can turn anything into a camper. I'm sure it'd be a good camper. All right, we've talked about the Rivian, we've talked about the Ford, but there's one more electric cargo van that I'm really excited for. Can you guess what it is? The ProMaster, or electric, whatever they're gonna call it, I don't know, BEV. That's what Ram's been going with for their like branding. I think the ProMasters are great. I think the new model year, based on some of the pictures I've seen, are gonna be really cool. Supposedly one of the roof options is gonna be not just tall, but extra tall, which is good for me because I'm extra tall and I still sometimes hit my head in the Rams. We're of course gonna have to see what the actual range ends up being. Stellantis put out a press release that these are supposedly gonna see their first deliveries in the second half of 2023. And get this, this was like tucked away in this big press release, and a few of the EV like forum websites are picking up on it. Apparently Amazon has already committed to be the first fleet customer for these new electric ProMasters. And this brings me to my final point. So I already mentioned that Amazon tested the dually Ford Transit. They also already used the electric Sprinters in Europe. Really, when the electric ProMasters find their way to the United States, they're just going to be a rebrand of the Fiat Ducato, which the electric Fiat Ducato is already good to go. It's already rolling over in Europe. So here's what I think is going to happen. We all know Amazon is trying to convert all of their vehicles to electric by 2030 or something like that. Or maybe not all vehicles, but a majority of their fleet. Rivian EDV is going to be a big part of that. But the other vehicle that rolled out quietly around the same time as the EDV is those Ram ProMaster CDVs, the upfitted Ram vans with the extra cargo space and all that. I bet you anything, by the end of this year, we're going to start seeing electric versions of those upfitted vans. In fact, I think the Ford Transits, the Mercedes Sprinters, the Ram ProMasters, I think those are out the door. I think soon enough, every van is either going to be a Rivian, Ram CDV, Ford CDV, or step van. And the step vans might even be on their way out. There's a whole thing with getting people DOT certified and all that. That's a whole other thing. But I don't think it's too far of a stretch to say that vans like the E-Transit or the E-ProMaster are going to find their way into the Amazon delivery lineup in the form of one of these upfitted vans. And I don't think it's going to take too long. And if you think I'm full of bologna, there's a picture of one of the Ford CDVs based on the E-Transit, so it's possible, it's been done. I don't know if Amazon or any of the other last mile delivery companies are in on that or what, but I think it's only a matter of time. Okay, that was a lot. I think I talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed trying something new and going out to film the E-Transit. Would the E-Transit on its own make a good delivery vehicle? If you've watched any of my other videos, you probably know what I'm gonna say by this point, but no, I don't really like driving the cargo vans at all. I mean, they're fine, but it's not meant for delivery. It's hard to get in and out of. There's not enough space in the back. The Ford and Ram CDVs, great. The EDVs, awesome. Step vans, love them. E-Transit, I really think the future of these electric delivery vans is gonna be in the upfit. I think last mile delivery is a great use case for EVs. I just hope they don't shove everybody into the normal cargo vans. Let me know what you think about the E-Transit, the E-ProMaster, the Rivian, all those new crazy electric vans. Is it gonna make it easier on delivery drivers? Is it gonna save money? Is it gonna be better for the environment? I don't know, but I sure am excited to be on the forefront of all this, and if you're watching this video, you kind of are too. So that's it. I gotta go preheat the oven. We're making chicken and Brussels sprouts and salad, I think? I don't know, but hopefully you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching again. Bye!